Hello, welcome to this new season of Curling on Laola TV. I'm Roger Gulka, and I'm really happy to be with you for this game of Michel from Switzerland against Snitil from Czech Republic. I have the pleasure to be with Nicole Strozak, a very experienced Swiss curler who's represented Switzerland many times at the World Championships. So, how are you doing? Are you looking forward to this new season?
Yeah, good morning, Roger, and welcome also from my side to the Baden Masters in Switzerland. When you sit behind a glass of curling sheet, you know summer is past, and the good thing about this, though, the curling season is going to start. All the good teams are back on the ice, and we're looking forward to some exciting curling.
Yeah. And we can see already the first end started reasonably offensive with the center guard and a rock more or less in behind. And we see there Sandro Trolia, the second man from Team Michel, who will try and freeze on the rock. That means freeze will be to try and come as close to it as possible without bumping it, or maybe bumping it just a little bit back. Seems a little fast. All right.
Yeah, that's right. Team Michel playing the Red Rocks. They had to start the game as Team Snitil was winning the hammer. That is done with a dolly draw shot to find out which team has to start the game in the next end.
Yeah, that's right. At the end of each game, the teams throw one rock, and the closest to the middle gets to throw second. That means he's going to have the last rock in the first end. And in curling, when you can throw the last rock, you always have an advantage because you can always save a bad situation, or you can always use that last rock to score as many points as you can. So you have the last word, and it's a very good thing in curling. So we see there the two sweepers sweeping really hard. So Nicole, can you explain us what's the effect of sweeping on the rock?
Yeah, you always have two sweepers on a rock, and with the sweeping, of course, you can have two effects. On one side, you can make a stone going a bit longer, and on the other hand, it takes the curl a bit away. That means the rock is going to slide a bit straighter.
Yeah, thank you. So, and there we see you'll try and remove that yellow rock. Perfectly done by the team Edelboden. Maybe they would have hoped to stay in the house. The house, so those being those circles there. If you want to score points in curling, you at least have to touch this house, and then once you are in, the points are counted like in pétanque. If ever you know pétanque, how it works, it means that the closest rocks through the middle for one team count. So right now there's only one rock in the house. It's a red rock. That means that the Reds are scoring one for now, but the points are only counted at the end of the end. So it means when every team has played their 8 rocks, and now we can see them, the Czech team sweeping, but this rock is too short despite all the sweeping. They didn't make it through to the house. So this is not a very good shot there from the Czech team.
On the other hand, of course, you can say, okay, it stays as a corner guard. Team Czech having last rock, and there's a stone of Team Adelboden buried behind the tee line, so it might give an option to play a come around later on and freeze onto the Adelboden red rock.
Exactly. So what Team Adelboden must do right now is make sure that they keep the control of the center by drawing a second rock in the house behind their guard that's in the middle. They try and be as close as they can to the middle behind that rock. And it seems like that rock is curling a little bit too much. Indeed. So they stay with the second center guard. So now the Czech rock is actually useful because there's only one rock in the house behind. As you can see, this rock is behind the tee line. The tee line being this line cutting horizontally the house. And what you can do is that you can draw behind, but there Snitil takes the option to take control of the middle and go behind those two center guards. This is also a perfectly good option.
They were discussing there if they should draw behind the corner guard or the center guard. They've chosen now to draw behind the center guard, actually from the outside, meaning that if the stone will stay a bit open, it doesn't leave Team Adelboden the option to play a hit and roll and bury a second stone behind the corner guard. It's played short though, it stays wide as well, so not a good rock from Team Czech.
So it's this time it was a bit wide, but it's the third rock that's a bit short there in this end. Probably the players didn't yet get the right grasp at the ice. Well, it's just a question of time. Maybe that right now before every game, what happens is that the person who prepares the ice will put what we call pebble. It means little drops. He's got like a little sieve, and there's water, and he sprays drops around the sheet of ice, and when the drops are still pretty thick, the ice is a little bit slower, but as long as rocks will move on the ice and they will cut a bit those little drops, then the ice will go a bit faster. So there we see again another, let's say, not perfectly well executed shot.
Yeah, Claudia Paterstone stayed too far out, touched the corner guard and rolled over to lie as a center guard, the third center guard already for Team Adelboden. So here's another chance now for Team Czech to draw around the center guard and get themselves into a good position to score in that end. Yeah.
The rock seems this time a little bit fast. No, it looks good actually. It's slowing down quite well. They're sweeping it hard. It seems like a pretty good shot.
They want to make sure that they lie shot, which they do.
They are shot. Shot means that they are closer to the center than any other rock. So right now, well, you can see, not particularly well in this image, but you can see that the yellow rock is closer to the middle than the red rock. And so there you can see better. So that means that the yellow is scoring one, and that red rock, well, is in the house. That red rock at the back there, at the back right. But it is not scoring because the yellow one is closer to the center. This yellow rock is pretty well positioned there, because if ever they hit it on the outside, it might even go on that red rock there behind. So actually, very good shot, I think, from the Czechs.
And we're down to skips rocks already. Sven Michel playing his first rock in the first end. Yeah. He's now himself trying to draw around the center guard, taking the other handle, where he has more room to draw around the center guard.
He doesn't have the risk to tap that yellow one back there, more in the middle. That seems like a pretty good shot there. But a little bit.
Because he stayed open, he decided to take it all the way back, still lying short, but leaving enough room to draw more shots around the center guard with his second shot.
So anyway, the Czechs are actually in a pretty good position, I would say, right now. They have the center that can be theirs right now. So it seems like with the ice he's giving, it seems like he wants to take that red rock out and lie two shots, right? As he showed there with his broom, he wants to hit that red rock and roll it to the side. So it seems like this red rock is, it is half open. So, I mean, with a backline weight, with like a tap weight, he can hit it and stay in the house and then lie two shots.
What he wants to make sure is that he doesn't hit it on the nose. He wants to make sure that he's going to roll to the side, not to leave an easy freeze for Team Michel to take the two shots away from the Czech team. So quite an exciting first end, I would say. Lots of rocks in play.
With quite a lot of rocks in play, that's what we want to see. Of course, when you're the team in the ice, you don't really care if your game is boring or not, but when you watch games, you like to see a lot of rocks in play and stuff, and that's exactly what's happening. So there, he hit right on the nose. Just as you said, it's good, but you need that little bit extra right now, and then maybe Michel is still a bit in trouble, but he can always use that yellow rock now to his advantage.
He needs to play a good rock, because if he's going to be too short, for example, and leave it open, that would give a chance for the Czech team to score a big 3 in the first end.
What Sven Michel must absolutely avoid is to hit the guards in front. He's allowed to be a little bit fast if ever he hits that yellow rock, stays open, but shot at least Snitil cannot get more than 2. So, of course, when you don't have the last rock, you try and avoid that the team that has the last rock, so your opponent team, scores more than 1. So, seems like he gives the ice for a draw, I think. Yeah. So this is the last rock in the end for the Sven Michel's team, the Swiss side. And after this rock, then Jerry Snitil will have his last rock that he can play. This very important last rock we were just talking about earlier.
It seems to be long enough. That's why it stays open a bit. So they're hoping. They hope for it to slow down, and it's actually not a great result because it's just staying open in the house. It's shot though, but
so yeah, the rock is shot, but like we said, this is a perfect example. Snitil has got the last rock, so he's got the last word in the end. An end, so is being 16 rocks thrown, 8 rocks per team. Knowing there's 4 players on each team, every player throws 2 rocks. And the skip throws the last rocks, and so we see there Jerry Snitil, who will throw his last rock, and he will try and get a 3 on Sven Michel. So if he plays his rock, this red rock is open, so I mean if he plays this shot perfectly, he removes the red rock, stays in the house, and remains with 3 rocks closest to the middle than any other red rock.
Perfectly played, and Team Czech is starting with a 3 in the first end. Taking advantage of the hammer, they really decided to play quite open and aggressive first end, and they got what they were looking for.
Yeah. Well, they took, let's say, the ascendant right now in the game. And so that's always good to have to be ahead. Once you're ahead, you can start playing a little bit more defensive. Playing more defensive means taking less risk. So when you take less risk, it means that you don't want to leave that many rocks in play. You want to avoid to have complicated situations where the other guy can take advantage. So you just want to keep the house clean, and of course it's a easier game to play than, let's say, a fine finesse shot offensive game where you actually try and complicate the game, play guards, freeze on rocks. It means like stop in front of the rocks very close so that the other team can't take them off easily, etc. So I suppose that right now with his first rock there, the Czech is just going to draw into the house in the middle at the top of the red circle that you will see.
So maybe as we go into that second end, we can give a few information on the tournament itself and on the 2 teams playing. It's, as we said, the Baden Masters tournament. This is the first tournament of the Curling Champions Tour, which is going to hold 7 men's tournaments and 6 ladies tournaments over the whole season, all of them in Europe. This is Germany, Norway, Sweden, Scotland and Switzerland. Yep. And in the Baden Masters we have 20 men's team competing. They are playing in 4 groups of 5 teams, and within the group there is a round robin played. So at the moment we're in the round robin phase. This is the 3rd game for Team Michel and Snitil. At the moment, Team Michel has won both their first 2 games. Team Snitil have lost both of them, so they desperately need a win. So this is the 3rd game, still everything open in that group, but Team Michel having a good position to go forward to the quarterfinal.
Yes, exactly. Well, so if Snitil wants to have a chance to get out of the group, so if you want to get out of the group, you need to finish in the top 2. And right now, Michel is leading the group. Michel, the team from Switzerland, and he's the second team is Hessler, also from Switzerland, who's got 2 victories. And behind Ulsrud, the Olympic silver medalist, the 2 times European champion, who is 3rd with 1 win out of 3 games. And also ex aequo with Thomas Dufour from France, curlers that we know very well in the French part of Switzerland, where I come from, because they come and practice in Geneva quite often. They're a strong team, but they always have difficult conditions in France because they have no curling rinks. So actually they've got I see a lot of merits to be where they are right now, play at their level, and so they also have 1 win like Ulsrud, and then down there is Thierry Snitil, the Czechs, with no win, but already started the 3rd game very well there to maybe try and snatch their first win of the tournament. There's a very good shot there. So like I said, as we can see, they play very defensive, not very many rocks in play. So the lead player for Czech Republic is Marek Vidra, who's 37 years old and started curling in 1996. And the second player is Indrich Kitzberger, 31 years old. He's boatman, and he's been 8th at the World Curling Championships in 2011 and 4th at the European Curling Championships 2011. Very good result for the Czechs at that time. Martin Snitil, one of the 2 brothers, 32 years old. And he has also been playing in that team. Actually, that Czech team has always been the same since quite a long time right now, so they are getting a lot of experience, like Jerry Snitil, who's the brother of Martin, of course, who's also have the same results there, 8th at the World Curling Championships 2011, 4th at the European Curling Championships. So we've got an international team there playing in front of us, very good level, very many World Curling Championships and European Curling Championships. And those Czechs, actually, I mean, it's one of those rising nations in curling. I mean, they didn't used to be there, and suddenly they start to get good results, good teams, a lot of junior teams. So, quite a nice country to see. Very friendly people, by the way. So right now, Sven Michel managed to have a corner guard. So usually what you try and do when you have the last rock, like Sven Michel has right now, because Jerry Snitil scored in the last end, they don't have the last rock in the next end, so Sven Michel has got the last rock. So when you have last rock, what you try and do is that you try and keep the center open, so in case if there's a problem, you can always have the center to draw your last rock in the middle and score 1. And you try and play on the side, so you put guards in the corner so that they don't bother you too much, and you can come behind them and use them to try and score more than 1, which is your objective when you are when you have the last rock. You try and score more than 1. So right now we see they use that corner guard. So there's that guard there on the side and a red rock behind. And so Sven Michel is trying to be patient. He's ignored those yellow rocks in the house. He's not trying to get rid of them. He's trying to create some offense, trying to get a lot of rocks in play, while the Czech team is going to try and get rid of them. So I didn't see the call. I didn't see if he prefers to throw a draw or a backline weight to push it out.
Yeah, he's basically going to try to tap back the second lying shot of Team Adelboden.
It seems a little bit wide, but it is curling quite a lot at the end there. Oh, he just touched it, but not enough. So Sven Michel's set has worked. He managed to use his corner guard. The Czechs didn't manage to get rid of that red rock, and it's lying second shot. That means it's second closest to the center. And now he's going to attack the center now. Try and take control of the house.
And it's looking quite good for Team Adelboden, as all the Czech stones, most of the Czech stones are lying behind the tee line. That is always an advantage for the team with the hammer, because you have possibilities to freeze on them, or it's going to be more difficult to play takeouts on rocks in front of the tee line. So at the moment it's looking quite good for Team Michel. The house is open. A thing you also want to have if you have last rock. You want to have the center open. If things go wrong, you always have a chance then to play a draw to the button with your last rock.
So right now, Team Michel is trying to add some pressure there on Snitil by drawing another one behind the corner guard, and this one is actually much better than the previous one because it is in front of the tee line. When the rocks are in front of the tee line, they're much more difficult to get rid of. You can't, if you freeze on them, you're not shot. You're not closer to the center. So right now, Snitil is a bit annoyed. I think he's going to try and raise. That's what he's looking at.
Yeah, it was a
good
call from Team Michel. He was ignoring the shot rock of Team Czech, which is lying open in the house, but behind the tee line. And he was trying to make use of his corner guard. That's why he drew behind to make the next shot for the Czech team just that much harder.
So you can always wonder why they do not take that rock out of the middle. Well, that rock is in the middle, okay, but it doesn't represent a particular danger for now, because knowing it's behind the tee line open, I mean, whatever happens, we don't expect the players of the level of Sven Michel to miss them. And this is actually a very good shot there from the Czechs. Managed to raise that yellow one on the red, sort of limiting the damage.
So if I see it right, Czech is laying shot rock and third, so Team Michel with the second rock in the game. So they're thinking now of maybe drawing from the outside around the corner guard and play a freeze on the third rock of the Czech team. Other possibility they were discussing was take out and roll to the side, so to attack the shot rock and roll to the side, and hopefully
like the take out personally.
And hopefully lay second afterwards behind the corner guard.
On top of that, Claudio Petz is a particularly good takeout player. He's very precise. He can throw very hard. So as we see, he's thrown pretty hard, but maybe he's a little bit wide there. Yeah. Is it going to curl enough? Yeah. So that's a very good shot. So now Sven Michel is lying two rocks behind the corner guard. So there you see how they can be useful, those guards. They're on the side, because now Snitil is very annoyed. Apparently he's going to try maybe and hit. He was showing that top red rock there. It's actually the most annoying rock for the Czechs right now.
Here we see again the slow motion of that shot of Claudia Patz. A really nice double takeout to lie two behind corner guards for Team Adelboden. So they have to do something now, the Czech team, that they actually don't want to do. They're not having the hammer, but they need to play a slow stone now to attack the 2 shot rocks of Team Adelboden. They actually would like to play takeouts and remove these stones, but
they would like to have open shots, and right now we see that the shot they're trying is not open because there's that red rock there in front of the house blocking the easy possibility. I mean, a rock that's open totally for players at their level on good ice like we have there in Baden. It's usually not too much of a problem with good sweeping, etc. So hard sweeping. So actually, this is not a catastrophe. He hits the guard, but at least he opens up. The problem is that he stayed a bit in front of the house. So now Sven Michel is in a very good situation to score at least 2 and maybe 3, whatever happens. So they can catch up on their bad first end right now.
So he's thinking now of where to position his next shot. He wants to make sure that Snitil with his last shot can remove a maximum of 2 shots. If possible, maybe just 1 shot.
Well, I mean...
So he tries to get as much separation in between the red rock in the 8 foot. They're drawing to the side because like that the Czech almost can't play a double takeout.
At least a triple impossible, because we can see those 2 red rocks there are lined up pretty well. I mean, there is a possibility for a double that is, let's say, not easy but not too complicated. So either he could have chosen to guard those rocks, but maybe at that point of the game you just play in the house, because if you draw in the house correctly now, you're nearly sure to get your 2. Even if Snitil makes the double, then Michel would have a draw or an open takeout to score 2. So this is the objective.
So the stone is
Michel
on its way.
Absolutely be in the house right now. Shot. That sounds pretty good. So you can see there the Czech player sweeps the rock of the opponents, and so he's allowed to do that only past the T line, so the horizontal line cutting the house in 2. And only 1 sweeper can sweep the rock past that line. So, not surprisingly, Snitil is going to go for the double and avoid the 3. If he makes his shot perfectly, he could even make the double and roll in front of the red rock on the right there. You can see at the back, and makes Michel's shot as complicated as possible.
But first things first, he needs to make sure to make the double, to cut the end down to a possible 2 for Adelboden.
So expect him to throw it pretty hard. Pretty hard.
He's playing an out turn and the sweepers need to sweep it hard. And he just misses it.
Oh, so a draw for 3 for Michel now.
Actually, he's rolling out as well, so it really leaves Team Michel for an easy draw for 3.
Just too bad there, huh? Just we see that curling is sometimes just a matter of centimeters. I mean, if he had maybe hit that rock there just a little bit more onto the left, he could have had the double and rolled perfectly in front. But for not much there, you just leave Saint Michel with an easy draw, let's say, for 3 to tie the game up.
Yeah, I fully agree. He did not just make the double, he also rolled out, which was just the worst that can happen. Just takes the pressure away from Team Adelboden. They're lying 2, they can just play draw to the open house for 3. He's going to make that with closed eyes, I would guess.
Yeah. This is always what you expect from a skip, is to be able to draw in the house anytime, any place. The skip not always has maybe the most difficult shots to play, but he has the last shots. His mistakes are directly seen on the scoreboard, so he has the most pressure usually on the team. I mean, if he misses, if the skip plays bad, he can by himself make his team lose. Or the opposite, his team plays bad, but if he plays really well, he can win the game by himself. He's really a key player, and to be a good skip, you need to be able to resist pressure, because often your shots matter a lot because nobody's behind you to catch up your mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there it is, the 3 for Team Adelboden.
Yeah.
So it's tied 3-3 after 2 ends.
Yeah.
2 pretty much exciting ends to start with. And I'm sure shortly we're going to present you Team Adelboden from the lineup. Here we go, Simon Gempeler playing lead. He's 26 years old. Then we have Sandro Trollier playing second.
A very young team, from Adelboden, 24 years old.
A young team, that's right, but they played together for a couple of seasons now, and you can also see the routines are really there. Claudio Paz as third, also just 25 years old.
Yeah.
And as you can see, they had a very good CCT season last year. They finished third. Sven Michel playing skip and fourth, 24 years old. And also his major success was the third ranking in the CCT.
Yes.
They actually had a very good last season. I get back to that just in a second. Coach Röbi Hürlimann, he joined the team for this season. He's a very experienced curler himself, played for years competitively, played a few European and World Championships, and he's joining Team Michel now. They have a nice new website, teamadelboden.ch. Go and check it out, and you get some more information on the team, on the season plan, and what they're up to this season.
Yeah, it's good to see a young team like that. It's very, very talented and having good results. I mean, I remember playing against the three players there, Sandro Trollier and Sven Michel, who have been actually playing together for a very long time, already in juniors when they were playing with Interlaken. They were twice Swiss champions, and they had won the bronze medal at the World Junior Curling Championship, beating Denmark. And then Claudio Petz, he was also, I think he was 3 times Swiss champion, and he participated to World Junior Championships. And, very experienced players, actually. They had a long career at juniors already, so now they enter the world of adults, and they're doing a good job. It's nice to see.
And to come back to the results of them in the last year, they were actually representing Switzerland at the Europeans. They had, actually in their opening game, they played Czech. I looked that up. They had a comfortable win against Team Snitil, and then Team Switzerland finished on 6th place at the Europeans. At the Swiss Championship, they also had quite a good round robin in the page system. They then lost the semi-final to Team Hess and ended up on 3rd place. Actually, I saw Team Adelboden is defending champion of the Baden Masters. They won the tournament last year. And you can also read on the website of Team Adelboden that the success last year is one of their best curling memory they had so far.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they want to come out here and defend the title and hopefully start with another great tournament into the season.
Yeah, it's always nice, to win those tournaments, especially right now in the opening of season, for getting a good boost of confidence for the rest of the season. Also, curling is not a professional sport, so when you win a tournament like that, you actually earn quite a lot of money. So it's very good, if you want to, make practices, buy some new equipment, do trips, play more tournaments, etc. So it's really a big boost to win a tournament like that in the curling championship.
And now with Ruby Hürlimann joining them, I think it's very good for that team to have a team coach now being with them the full season. Last year they played without a coach, and this season they have a lot of exciting tournaments and trials ahead of them. Team Adelboden is in the trial for the European champions again. They have a great chance to play the trials for the Olympics. So. I'm sure high goals ahead of them, and then it's always good to have someone behind the glass who can support you on technical stuff, on tactical stuff, and with Ruby they have a very experienced guy who for sure can support them in all areas.
Yeah, so right now we can see that the end has starting pretty offensively again. Team Michel has played a center guard. This is actually quite a classical opening shot in an end. When you don't have the last rock, you try and complicate the situation in the middle, because you want to try and score without having the last rock. So if you want to score without having the last rock at a level like this, you need to have guards in front of the middle and rocks behind in the middle. So to make the opponent's skips life as complicated as possible. So we can see a very, very good shot there to remove that yellow rock from the center. So those two center guards are not at the advantage of Jerry Snitil, who has last rock and wants to reserve himself an easy last shot. So he will peel them out there, as we can see. Throw a hard shot, try and get rid of both.
With the first 4 rocks, you can't remove any guards in front of the house, the so-called free guard zone, so that's why he had to wait until the second player is coming up, and he's nicely removing the 2 guards as well as the plate stone, leaving the house again completely open. Great result with that.
Very, very nice shot there. So what Sven Michel is going to do now, I mean, in theory, so everything happened as planned, they are going to make sure that they will have 2 rocks in the house, 2 red rocks in the house shot, and so if on Jerry Snitil's last shot the reds are still still have 2 rocks in the house, you'll be forced to draw 1 for 1 point. So this is actually quite peculiar in curling, because you like sometimes to get scored on. You like to get a 1 scored on you, because when you get a 1 scored on you, you get the advantage of last rock again, and you can try and score more points. So the objective maybe now is just to let Jerry Snitil score 1, and then go into the next end only with a 1 point, being 1 point back, and try and score 2 and take the lead with your last rock. So, I mean, except if there's a total miss, which you absolutely don't expect, you will not steal. That means you will not score without last rock, because there are no guards. It's completely open. So what Jerry Snitil is going to do is he's going to try and remove all the red rocks, and if possible, try and score no points at all. Make a 0 and keep the last rock advantage for the next end, where he will try and score 2. So this is basic tactics in curling. When you have last rock, try and score 2 or more. When you don't have last rock, not get scored more than 1. So this is what you try and do.
That is exactly why Team Adelboden is now just playing a straightforward takeout to remove the yellow rock and stay in the rings themselves. That's very important, as you just explained. That's the only chance to be able to try and force Team Snitil to score 1 later on in the end. So you need to make sure that they always hang around with the shooter.
Yep. So right now, actually, it's a pretty good shot, because the double on the 2 reds is actually quite complicated. I mean, they're playing on the sides. So what Jerry Snitil is going to ask Martin, his brother, is just to take that red rock out and stay in front of the red one. Sorry, so that at the back, so that they will make Saint Michel's take out as hard as possible. He also must stay in the rings. I mean, this is very important. Or make the double, which not. So yes, the problem is now he didn't stay in the rings. Saint Michel's got the opportunity to draw wherever he wants in the house and make a double as complicated as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
So good situation there for the Swiss side.
So they're aiming to draw to the right 8-foot side in front of the tee line to the house, aiming to make the double as difficult as possible, and also trying to make the hit and roll to the side, the hit and roll to the middle for Team Czech more difficult in the way that they're not going to be able to just sit in front of the backstone of Team Adelboden.
Genug. Kijk, genug. 8 voet, hè? Oh. Nu.
So it's coming nicely down. It's just a hair too long. He wanted it maybe half a meter shorter, but still a good shot from Sven Michel.
So, if ever you want to ask us some questions, I mean, we are here with our computer and we can see emails, so you can always write to us at live@curlingchampionstour.org. So this is the address there that you can see at the bottom of your screen. So don't hesitate to ask us some questions. Just send an email, live@curlingchampionstour.org. We also have a Facebook group where you can also ask questions. It's called Live Curling on laola1.tv. So if you're on Facebook, you can always also ask us some questions on the Facebook group. So whatever you choose, we'll be watching both. And if we see any questions, if you send anything, we'll just read your question out and answer it live so everybody can share it. So we can share it with everybody. Sorry. So please send us questions.
So here is Snitil with his first rock in this end.
Actually, that seems like a really good shot.
Yeah, just rolling a bit
Just
too far over. He
far,
was aiming to really sit in front of the red rock to make it more difficult to be played out.
The advantage there is that Sven Michel can. Well, what Snitil will hope now is that Sven Michel hits and rolls out, or maybe hits and stays in a place where he might leave him an easy double
to roll out himself.
The ideal, of course, I mean, if Sven Michel were to miss, was if he missed wide and hit the yellow one on the red. So he has got to be pay attention not to be wide. I mean, it's better to leave him an easy double to do 0 than to leave him a draw for 2. So, well, if he just hits on the nose, actually, it's pretty good. So he seems a little bit wide. We can see when he released the rock, he flipped it just a little bit.
A bit tension to the outside,
In the curling motion, I mean, when you throw the rock, the hardest thing to do is actually to. I think he's just out.
Hard to say from here, but
he didn't see it on the
probably outside.
But Sven Michel sort of showed his anger.
Du hast noch nicht so beansprucht bis jetzt.
So
okay, jetzt können wir draussen, dass wir nichts machen müssen. Die Leger können wir länger.
Yeah. So from this angle,
it seems it's biting. Is he playing a draw, or what is he indicating? I think he's playing a dead draw.
I think he's just playing a draw, so it's probably in. So actually, it's a good shot.
Otherwise, he would play a clearing stone on the back
So apparently,
stone in the house. So it has to bite. Otherwise, he wouldn't play that draw.
Like we were saying before, I mean, if you want to score a point, you just need to touch the house, even if it's for 1 millimeter. So as you see, apparently that red rock there is touching the house for really just a little bit, forcing Jerry Snitil for the draw.
It's looking long.
It's good.
But it's stopping at the right point of time.
There.
Team Snitil is scoring 1, so you can say the strategy of Team Adelboden really worked out. They were trying to force Team Snitil to score 1. That's the way they get the hammer back in the 4th end.
So this is a good end there from Team Adelboden. I mean, he got a little bit lucky at the end. I mean, he just didn't stick the yellow onto the red, and he didn't roll out. So, but anyway, you need always a little bit of luck. I mean, it was a good shot in the end. Mission accomplished. Jerry Snitil scored 1, and as expected. And so now what the roles are gonna change. I mean, now Snitil is gonna try and force Adelboden to score 1. Maybe, if possible, steal if ever there's an occasion. Yeah, it's cold on the ice, as you can see. It's also cold outside, but cold on the ice.
Yeah, it was time to put the heating on in the car this morning. So,
so if Snitil can force Michel to score 1, he will have, again, the advantage of last rock. Tied, he can try and score 2, take a good advantage. It's still a bit too bad, I mean, for him. I mean, when you think you score 3 in the first end, you take a good option on the game. Getting a 3 right after is actually, I mean, is a quite disappointing result, I suppose, for them.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we said already, it's a game played over 8 ends. Yeah. If the game is tied after 8 ends, there is going to be played 1 extra end only. Otherwise, the dolly draw shot would count in to decide who's the winner. But we're not there yet. We just started the 4th end. So really in the getting to the middle phase of the game.
So we see that an offensive game is starting right now because teams are trying to place rocks in play. So Jerry Snitil, I mean, asked his lead to play a classical opening shot. Classical opening shot by playing a center guard. Like we said, he doesn't have last rock, so he wants to keep the middle under control. If he wants to ever have a chance to steal, he needs guards in the middle and rocks behind those guards in the middle. And while Sven Michel, who doesn't have last rock, tries to keep the center open by playing a corner guard. So the corner guard is actually not that much on the corner, didn't curl enough, but it's still all right. I mean, it's still leaving a center open. If ever that yellow rock is removed. So both teams are trying to put rocks in play. Also, like we said before, you're not allowed on the 4 first rocks at the end to take out guards. That means rocks in front of the house that don't touch the house. So you're able to place 4 rocks in front without being able to take them out. So there's a second rock in front. So Sven Michel is not going to be allowed to take them out yet. He must wait 1 more rock. So he'll just try and draw behind his guard. There's a hole there. Just go through it.
Yeah, he's going to draw behind the corner guard. Like that, he still has the option to take the center guards away afterwards with the second player's rock. It's curling a lot. They need to sweep heavily. They're going to pass the guard, but now it's looking long. But it might just hang around at the back of the rings, which is actually an absolute okay result.
Yep.
Team Snitil is now going to ignore that rock at the back of the rings. They're going to push up their own stones, the yellow stones, which is just lying in front of the house. They're aiming to push it up straight or maybe even a bit to the right side behind the center guard. Team Snitil, as you mentioned before, they played together for quite some time. They actually also had quite a good last season.
Yep.
They had some good results on the curling champions tour as well as on the World Curling Tour. And what really sticks in my mind, they had the Super European Championships.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember some of the games they played, but in the late stage, in the late phase of the European Championships, they played some really great games.
Yeah.
They played some tie breaks to get actually to the page playoff. They played a fantastic game against Denmark to get to the semi-final, which afterwards they lost. And they afterwards also lost the bronze medal game against Denmark again. But overall, from my side, I was really surprised to see them play at that level.
To start with, it's their best result ever. I mean, I remember them usually always struggling to manage to get their place into the World Championships, because I think the top 8 teams of the European Championships qualify for the Worlds. But I mean, Czech Republic is a rising nation in curling. They have had their first international medal last year. In juniors, the girls got the silver medal at the World Junior Championships. That was actually quite a surprise. Nobody was expecting them, but I remember watching some of the games they played, and they were, I mean, a really strong team. And I felt really happy for the Czech Republic, who've been actually making a great work with juniors. I mean, I remember tournaments in Switzerland where there were like 5 or 6 Czech teams playing. I mean, their top junior team, led by Lucas Klima, actually a very, very good player. I mean, they have been progressing. They are playing now regularly in the World Junior Curling Championships. So I mean, there's some good curlers coming up, and it's really nice to see a new nation like this invested. I mean, they're building new curling rinks, and apparently there's a very cool tournament in Prague. You can come and play. So.
Yeah, it's actually quite a nice curling rink in Prague. I think they have it probably for about 10 years. And I agree with you. Somehow the Czech Republic, the teams have quite a natural approach to the game. They seem to understand the game quite well and really invested well in some of their teams, which more and more have a really good level also at the Europeans and World Champions event.
And what you need, I mean, to develop your curling is that you need to have some sort of, to create some kind of, let's say, tradition. I mean, when you see teams like Martin Snitil, I mean, they're playing a lot of World Championships, a lot of European Championships, so they are sort of the first generation of players who are starting to have the experience that they can transmit to later generations. And so I suppose that when they'll retire, they'll probably focus on just local. They'll train some new players, etc. So, I mean, it's always great to have in a country curlers with experience. I mean, it's really a big plus. I remember when we were in juniors, we had lessons with Ralph Stockley. I mean, it was really a big plus to have players like that teaching you. So they are the first generation of players who will be able to have that influence on new generations. So, I mean, it's probably I'm very optimistic for Czech curling right now.
So the end is developing quite interesting. Team Adelboden lying with 2 rocks, which are attacked now by Team Snitil. We see third player Martin Snitil playing his rock. He's trying to promote their own center guard onto the red rock, which is working out.
Yeah, pretty good shot there. Too bad red rock just stayed at the back.
Of course, the nice center guard is not anymore where it was, and actually that is what Team Czech really need to make pressure on Team Adelboden.
But they still have those rocks there nearly in the center. I mean, they can always draw behind there, and I mean, if you want to force your opponent team to score 1, I mean, you can also just have one shot guarded, and the other guy is forced maybe to play a draw.
That's right. The situation as it is, though now, it also leaves Team Adelboden with a good chance to just bury a second rock behind that sort
I
of
think that
corner
they're-
guard. I
seems
mean,
like
it's
they're
more.
playing for the open side.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
they're
Yeah.
just playing in the open. Get 2 shots.
Nee, nee, warte.
They'll probably try and freeze on that yellow rock. This is what Saint Michel
That's
is showing.
right.
You can see it on the image.
Warte noch.
Yeah, I misread that. I thought
Yeah.
they're going to draw behind.
So that line is very good there.
Laat mee, oder? Oh, drin, oh. Zet hem maar in de dop.
All right. So Saint Michel was actually worried of not leaving a double takeout. Well, actually, there is a double takeout, but it's across the house. It's a long distance. It's a hard shot to play, but it is there. Thing is, I mean, if they go for it, they're taking a big risk because they could always roll out, miss the double, and jam the red rock onto the yellow. But I mean, it's maybe a risk worthwhile taking. I mean, because if maybe they don't make the double, they can always maybe roll behind those 2 guards. I mean, many things can happen there.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, he can't just ignore
Yeah.
these stones. He needs to attack them to avoid maybe getting into a tricky situation where Team Adelboden has again a chance to score an easy 2 or even a 3.
Yeah.
So he has to attack that stone,
Yeah.
but make sure again to stay in the rings himself.
Seems pretty good, actually.
Either the double,
Whoa.
oh, really nice double.
Congratulations,
Great
well.
shot, yeah.
Great shot there. The only sad point is that the rock is behind the tee line.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
I mean, this is a terrific double takeout there. Perfectly mastered. So actually, two very good shots there from Martin Snitil there. It's always important to have a good third. I mean, you can talk with experience, I suppose. When your third plays well, it's always a nice feeling.
Yeah, I played a few positions, but third for quite a while. Sometimes just third, sometimes in combination with skip, and I always enjoyed the third position extremely. Yeah, it's of course you play a lot of different shots.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed the variation.
So there. Yeah, so Saint Michel didn't have the choice. He had to draw there behind to try and get his 2. So it's a good shot. It's buried. I mean, Snitil just absolutely can't take it out. So he has to freeze on it because the only bad point about this shot is that it's behind the tee line. As we said, it's very important to draw your rocks in the house in front of this line. They're cutting the tee line, cutting the house horizontally. Because as you see, if now the yellow rock, imagine a yellow rock in front of the red rock, the yellow rock would be closer to the middle and would be scoring. So if Jerry Snitil can just put his shot there in front of the red rock, Saint Michel will absolutely not be able to take it out, and it will leave him with a pretty complicated situation. So this is a very crucial shot there right now in the end.
And as we see, it's not curling that much.
Yeah.
He holds the broom just at the edge of the 4-foot.
Yeah. Yeah, on a shot like this, you want to use your sweepers.
They're calling line actually right from the start. Now they can stop and
So it's starting to curl right now.
it has actually quite a late breaking point.
Very good shot there.
Yeah, great shot. Yeah, you could see very well on that shot that the stones are actually staying straight quite a long time, and the breaking point, that's the point where the stone actually starts to curl, is actually just after the hog line.
Yeah.
So you need to wait quite a long time, and then once it does start, you can take it all the way back, that it has a nice finish on the rock.
Like when well, talk to us about a bit the curl there. I mean, the game is called curling for a reason. I mean, the rocks curl. I mean, they curve. Like, tell us what happens. I mean, what's the effect actually on the rock? Because when you see the players, they release the rock and they make it turn one side or the other. So what happens then when you turn it?
Well, if you think about it, if you wouldn't give the stone a turn, the stone would decide itself on the way which side it wants to start to turn. So that's why it is very important to give a nice turn. One says an optimal pace of turn is 2 to 3 times up to the other house. So you don't want to give too much turn, you don't want to give too less turn. A turn 2 to 3 times is probably optimum. And basically with the turn, you decide which direction the stone is going to move. So if you give a out turn, the stone is going to move anti-clockwise, and it's going to turn to the left side. On the other hand, if you play an in turn, of course if you're right-handed, you give a turn into the clock position and the stone is going to curl to the right side.
So actually it's just like a football. I mean, when
with the FA.
It will have the effect and it will not go straight. It's actually, you know, when you see the players, they slide. So, I mean, they're in the sort of little starting block that we call the hack, and then they slide out. And then when they release the rock, I mean, for me, I think for every curler, this is probably the most difficult technical movement that you can do. I mean, it's very, very easy when you put the turn on the rock, like you flip it out or flip it in, and then it doesn't take maybe the expected trajectory. So actually, it's a very hard thing to master, and even you see the best players in the world sometimes like flipping the rock out of direction. I mean, it can happen. I always try and be as regular as possible.
This, of course, is the time of the season where we really want to work on technique. I mean, during the summer month, if you're back on the ice, you can work on technique, try new stuff out, work with laser technique and stuff like that to make sure that you have a very consistent release. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, you can't say that's the optimum release. It's just important that it's very consistent. It's great if it's consistent within the team. That makes it easier for the skip to read the ice and to read the releases. So consistency is really what you're looking for.
Yeah, because the ice conditions have a big influence on the game. I mean, every ice is different. I mean, depending maybe on the outside temperature, depending on the iceman, the quality of the ice, how hard it is, if it's soft. Like we were talking about the pebble at the start, those little drops that you put on the ice. I mean, if they're thicker or less thick, I mean, it's a very, very. It's the ices are always different, and so players always have to adapt. The more consistent your release is, the more the skip, who actually decides the strategy, can read the ice. It means can anticipate what the rocks are going to do, the effect they're going to have. Some ice curl more, some ice curl less. I mean, this is when you get to the very fine aspects of the game about how you be that extra bit precise. I mean, if you can read the ice correctly, then you have a really big advantage on a lot of teams. So it's a very important aspect of the game. So we see the Czechs sweeping it very hard. I think that they would want to have that rock just a little bit further than where they had it last time, because last time they were just a little bit too far away, and that seems much better there. Maybe.
Is it hidden enough?
I think.
Or can Team Adelboden push it out?
I think that. I think the rock is open, but it would be very, very difficult to hit that yellow one without hitting the red one behind, I think.
But actually they have, how to say, a safety backup with the 2 yellow stones at the back. So he maybe can even hit his own red rock a bit as well.
If he hits his rock on the nose, the red rock might go on those 2 yellow rocks behind and stay. And he would stay in the middle, and the yellow rock in the center that would hit the red one behind would just roll out, and he could have his 2. So a complicated shot, but apparently possible. I think he was looking at that before at those backends there with those 2 yellows.
I think the key is not to play too heavy.
Yep. Well, it's very, very difficult. I mean, if he's just a little bit too wide and a little bit too much on the right, he just sticks the yellow onto the red. His shooter rolls out. I mean, even if a catastrophe happens, the red rock behind doesn't stay in the house. I mean, this is a very, very difficult situation right now.
As we see, there's not a lot of room. He really needs to pass the guard by nothing to be able to hit the shot rock on the nose.
What I would personally play maybe is it's just a back house weight and push that yellow rock. And I mean, if first comes to worst, you score one, or at least you never get stolen more than one. If you throw hard, there's a risk, but I mean, we'll see what he picks. So he was calling elf 11. So this is a
not too heavy, yeah.
Yeah, not particularly heavy.
A slow takeout.
Yeah. Yes,
here he comes with his last rock in this fourth end.
So
Sven Michel. They're sweeping for line.
Just oversweep it a little bit.
Beautiful.
Very good shot.
Beautiful shot.
Beautiful shot for two. So he did what he needed to do there. Just hit that rock on the nose. That was the objective. So everything did boom, boom, boom as wished. And now it's the end of the fourth end, and Sven Michel is leading 5 rocks to 4.
Another exciting end, I would say.
Actually, again, a lot of good shots. I mean, Czechs made that good run back on the guard and that beautiful double takeout, and 2 times those rocks there. First time was just a little bit too short from Snitil. The second time just a tiny bit too wide. So just, I mean, it's really just a question of centimeters when you get at that level. I mean, you want to get the rock exactly where you want it. So you need to have a very, very high degree of precision, because behind, I mean, the sanction can be total. So start of the 5th end right now.
Die Linie ist gut. Nicht schlecht. Gut, er steht top. Dann mal.
So Team Adelboden decided to play a center guard.
So again, classical opening at the end, center guard. I think the Czechs are going to try and just draw behind it.
With that shot of Adelboden, they want to make sure that the Team Czech is not playing a corner guard. They want to have the game in the middle.
Yeah.
And basically taking Team Czech into the game behind the center guard.
When you don't have the last rock, it's always good to have center guards, because you can always have that chance to steal, like you said. That means you have a rock buried behind guards in the middle, so they're close to the center, and make the life of the other skip as hard as possible. So.
Yeah, in that 5th end, Team Adelboden could say themselves, okay, it worked out, we had some good ends so far, let's continue to play a bit offensive, let's make some pressure to force Team Snitil into a 1. If it doesn't work out, okay, they score maybe 2, but to keep up the pressure, to try to create something, it might work out. It could be steal, it could be force, but make sure that someone is scoring.
And of course, when we watch some offensive curling, I mean, we always like that. We always like to see rocks in play. So this is, it's too bad. I mean, the weight was absolutely perfect on that rock. It's just the direction didn't curl enough there. I mean, Snitil wanted to be in front of that red rock to make Sven Michel's takeout as hard as possible. But there we see that he just sits beside it, and it's actually just a normal open takeout. I mean, there's no additional difficulty to the shot. So a lot of sweeping there. Is he inside? All right, so everything is cleared. So I hear Sven Michel saying in German that apparently Sandro Cioia didn't put enough handle on the rock. That means that he didn't make the rock turn enough. And sometimes what happens is that if you put the curl on the rock, that means if you make it turn but not enough, the rock might curl more, might take more of the effect.
And that does get more and more important as long the game goes on, because the pebble gets basically teared away from all the sweeping, all the sliding on the ice. And when you don't have a lot of pebble, you need to make sure that you give a nice turn to the stone, because otherwise you risk that the stone is going to lose its handle.
Yep. And we've heard already that the ice is actually very soft. I mean, it's you were just coming out of the summer, and so the pebble wears out pretty fast. And often what happens is that you get what we call picks in curling. I mean, the rock sometimes gets like a little piece of dirt, or I mean, if the ice is a bit flat, sometimes there's just a little flat bit, and if the rock catches that bit, it will just go any direction. You totally lose control on the rock. And there apparently has been a lot of that this weekend. Well, so far we didn't see any, I think. Or at least we didn't.
Or we didn't notice.
Yeah, maybe we didn't notice. Because they weren't particularly obvious. So good shot there from Cioia. Good draw there. I mean, if he can just bite the red there, be top of the red, I mean, this is a perfect shot.
Very nice come around. Yeah. Absolutely.
Perfectly behind the guard. And in front of the tee line.
Biting the forefoot.
Yeah, biting. Perfect. But it's still early in the end. Snitil will ask his second player to...
So it's not going to mess around. Team Snitil, they want to open up the center to make sure they still have a chance to score in that end. They don't want to risk a steal in that end, because... if Team Adelboden would be able to go ahead with 3 points after 5 ends, that could be already a bit tricky. So they want to make sure they're going to score in that end. Or a blank would be fine as well.
No, the last thing that they want is a steal. But I mean, for Sven Michel, it's not a bad thing if Snitil scores 1. I mean, they would be 5-5.
They would be happy with that.
They would be actually very happy with that. They would be 5-5, and Michel would have last rock, so he would have the advantage. He could score the first 2 or something like that, and then take a real good lock on the game as we're getting closer to the end.
So he's going to play a nice protection for the shot rock, a nice center guard. They need to wait with the sweeping again, because as we explained before, it stays quite straight for a long time and only starts to curl around the hog line. So now it's curling nicely, so they can take it all the way until it's covered perfectly. It's maybe a bit too long. On the other hand, a nice long center guard means also Team Czech can't play a promotion takeout. So,
I think
good result.
It's a good shot. Now Snitil is going to be forced to play a more complicated shot. He just play some sort of back of the house draw, push that red rock behind the tee line, stay in front in quite a high precision shot.
What he needs to make sure he what he needs to make sure here, if I could say it, is to hit for sure one of the stones.
Yeah.
If it's curling too much, he can open up the center guard and stay with 2 corner guards, or hit the shot rock. And he's missing them both. That's really something that's not that shouldn't happen. That brings them under real pressure in that end.
Yeah, I don't want to be rude, but that's probably the worst thing he could have done.
The length was fine, actually.
Yeah, the length was good actually. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, this shot is absolutely of any use. I mean, like our national trainer Al Moore said, you need to hear some noise. I mean, it's true. At least if you hit the guard, you can split them, have 2 corner guards, anything. I mean, so it's really too bad there for the Czechs, because right now they're putting themselves in a very, very difficult situation in the end. So they will, I think, probably next shot, Jerry Snitil is going to be forced to ask Martin to open. Except if maybe they're freezing on the 2 rocks behind. So on the opposite, this is actually a very good shot, because whatever happens now with that red rock, those 2 yellow rocks are probably never going to score.
Yeah, Team Adelboden just wanted to make sure that the 2 yellow rocks at the back will not get back into play.
So
he could have actually also drawn around the center guard and just frozen on his shot rock. Decided not to do that. As we said before, he's not really going out for a steal. He probably wants to make sure that it's either a steal or maybe just a one.
The shot he
for
chose is actually an interesting option, because the shot is very well executed. You see what happens when you play a good freeze. I mean, you totally eliminate those 2 yellow rocks at the back. And it's sure that if he had maybe tried to draw behind the center guard, if he makes it, it's perfect, but it's very easy. I mean, if ever you hit the guard, or if ever you bump your rock, roll open, I mean, you can leave it double, so and there would still be those 2 yellow rocks at the back. So actually a higher possibility to miss or have a bad result. And actually there, the Czechs played a very good shot there.
Yeah, it's a nice rock.
Yeah.
They probably hope to push the red rock just a bit further back behind the T line.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on the T line, which gives Team Adelboden a chance basically to play a blocker, probably come around.
Yeah.
Maybe stay somewhere in the 12 or 8 foot half, covered behind the center guard.
But with this shot, I mean, he takes a better control, I mean, of the center of the house, because he can always use that yellow right there
to push it up later on. Yeah.
And right now, Michel is forced to make a good draw there. I mean, if he's a bit wide or something, it could leave Jerry Snitil with a double take. I didn't see. I think he wants to draw in the house. I think.
He was just saying freeze would be fine as well. Yeah. So I guess they're aiming for a 12 foot, 8 foot stone. But if it's curling enough and just has the extra bit of length, it could be a freeze. Yeah. Talking about it, I think a freeze actually is not a too bad option, because Team Czech still have their stone, the yellow stone, the control zone, which could be pushed up for short rock later.
So they need a rock in front of T line. Whoa! Did they sweep it too much? Maybe it's just a little bit too slow. Oh well, it's a guard. If it's a guard, it's still okay. But now, if Snitil makes a good raise, that red rock could be of a problem. I mean, the raise is there, and it's not the most complicated shot. You just have to hit it on the side somewhere, and the yellow should go on the red.
It's actually good that the stone of Sven Michel is almost lying open. That leaves a possibility to push it up maybe with the last rock, depending on the shot Snitil is playing now.
So with the ice he's giving, I suppose that he's going to play a light tap. I suppose maybe a backline weight, something like that.
Yeah, I would expect maybe a hack weight.
Hack weight, maybe, yeah.
Maybe not fast, maybe he's just going to push it for short rock, just to tick the red rock.
Yeah. It would be good if he could stay also in the house. I mean, maybe you have a chance to have a second shot. Who knows?
Fine. Just sit. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. 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 Whoa.
It has to curl.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
Just didn't curl enough.
That's really too bad there. Now actually Sven Michel's got a really good chance to steal the end right now. I mean, there's no more yellow rocks in front. The only thing I see Jerry Snitil could do would actually raise that red rock onto his yellow rock. And that's how he could score only one. But I mean, right now I think that if Sven can just guard that, I mean, Jerry Snitil would be in a lot of trouble there to score as one.
So they're going to guard their own rock in front of the house. He can't do it both with his rock, so he's just going to do that one, which makes sure that Jerry Snitil, if anything, can score one and no more.
Yep.
With a perfect draw.
So, yep. So the Czech's in trouble. Sven Michel playing his last rock at the end, trying to guard. Try and get a steal. Hard sweeping. You see that black line there, that fat black line horizontally. This is the hog line. If you want the rock to be in play, I mean the rock to stay, as you see all those rocks staying there in the field of play, they need to entirely pass that hog line. If they ever touch it, then they're removed of the play. The same way as if they touch the sidelines, or if they go behind the back line, which is the line that's at the back of the house. So, complicated shot there for Snitil. I mean, maybe he could go through that port there.
Znamená tady kolik? Tam kousek z toho, no.
I know, he's in trouble.
Kousek z komory.
It's going to be a tough shot.
He's in trouble, but it's, I mean, if ever he gets a one stolen on him, he will be 2 down, still with last draw. He can still score 2. Then force Sven Michel to score 1, then he would be only losing by 1, and then in the last end score 2 and win the game. So, I mean, nothing is lost right now. But he has to make sure that he scores 2, etc., etc. So, nothing is lost, but it's getting more and more complicated for the Czechs if ever they want to win.
Yep.
So he's playing control weight.
High difficulty shot.
Yep. Whoa.
All right.
100.
Well, good try there from the Czechs, but still 1 for the Swiss. So Sven Michel 6, Snitil 4. And this is the end of the 5th end, and so we're going to start the 6th end. The Swiss side without last rock because they just scored. So actually they stole. This is actually our first steal of the game. That means stealing, means scoring when you don't have the last rock. This is much more difficult than to score when you have the last rock because of course you don't have the last word. But like we said, if you want to steal at that level, you need to have rocks in the middle that actually the other skip cannot outdraw. I mean, this was a perfect example. The red rock was just covering totally the button, that means the center of the house. There were guards in front. This is the way, this is similar situations, like you must have those kinds of situations if you want to steal, because you want to make their life complicated. I mean, if you have a totally open situation, you never expect a miss from your opponent. They can happen, but you never expect them.
So let's take a look at the scores of on the other sheets. Team Hassler, a Swiss team, playing Team Dufour from France. They're actually in the same group as our featured game. It's a tied game, 3-3 after 5 ends. And Team Dufour having the hammer.
Yeah, and we can see Dufour is in a good situation because he's got the last rock in the 6th end. That means that he will have theoretically the last rock in the 6th and in the 8th, as Hassler is only going to have the last rock in the 7th. So actually a good situation for the French. They need to manage their good situation now.
On the next sheet we have Team Lang from Germany playing Team Kause from Finland. Also there quite a tight game. Yep. They're in the 6th end now. Finland leading 4-3, but Germany with the hammer. That's actually a game of the group C, where actually both teams so far have no win yet. Both looking for their first win.
So at least one of them is going to have one victory after that game. And so then we move to the next game, which is ours. So we know the score. Another tight game. 6-4 for Switzerland, so Sven Michel. And then on the last sheet, we have Hess against Edin. Hess losing 3-2. We don't see the final score at the end of the table, but we can see Hess is losing just by 1 without last rock in the 6th. So a good situation for Edin, the 4th at the last Vancouver Olympic Championships, European champion. He was a bronze medalist at the last World Championships last year in Basel. Well, this year actually in Basel in 2012. So very, very strong Swedish team who've been there for quite a while. Very young team also. So I mean, we'll still see them for quite a while. And I mean, they're able to play really impressive shots. They're a really spectacular team to watch, usually. So
actually, Team Edin is needing a win. They just have 1 win out of 2 games so far. Team Hess, they have won both their first 2 games. So that was a game from Group C. Actually, later on at 4:30 this afternoon, we're going to show a game out of this group. It's going to be Team Hess towards Team Freiburger. 2 Swiss teams, actually both playing from the same club soon. So that's later on this afternoon.
Mario Freiburger that we used to play in the juniors. Remember, a very, very good player. We used to nickname him Super Mario because he was always making the great
big
shots. Yeah. And we always had troubles winning against him. So actually, I'm really looking forward to seeing him later this afternoon there, see how they've advanced past their juniors.
So back to our game. We're in the 6th end. We had an interesting start into that game. Team Michel was playing a center guard, and Team Snitil now having to be even more aggressive, played a corner guard. Team Michel played drawed around the center guard, and Team Snitil followed the rock behind the center guard. So now it's up to second players' rocks. That's why Team Adelboden played a fast rock, a fast takeout to clear away the corner guard of Team Czech.
Yeah. When those guards are annoying, what you do is that you peel them, so you throw a fast rock, you hit them, and you roll out yourself. So you leave nothing in play. So Snitil will not insist on the corner guards. It seems like he's asking for a center guard, which is a little bit unusual when you have last rock. I don't know. I would probably just try and play another corner guard, you know. They're like, in those points of the game, you know, you just play a corner guard so that the other player just plays at them. And so you just, so it just uses the opponent's rocks. If ever they miss, then you have a corner guard. Otherwise, I mean, you can just be patient, wait until the end of the end to play in the middle. I mean, they're in a pretty good situation in the middle now, so you just play on the sides and wait until the end is advanced enough so that you can start playing in the middle and make the difference and try and score your 2. So it's just a corner guard play, and no surprise, Sven Michel's going to hit at it. So fast drop there from Sandro Troyer.
Yeah, hardly ever misses them. He's really good at his fast clearing takeouts.
Well, I remember I used to play second, and that was really, we were practicing those rocks a lot. I mean, they're very, very important. When sometimes it happens that a clearing is missed, and you can suddenly find yourself into trouble just by missing one of those shots. I mean, they sound uninteresting, but actually they're very, very important shots. And if they're always made, then I mean, you always have a really good advantage. Once you're ahead, I mean, if you make all your clearings, the other team has got a lot of trouble if they want to catch up. So
it just gives a great feeling to the skip as well. If he knows that when you're maybe 2 stones ahead, that it's going to be very tough for the other team to catch up, because you such good players on second and third position who can clear every stone or double clearings. That really helps for the strategic confidence also of the team.
Exactly. Well, knowing that when you're behind, you will try and create a complicated game, and that when you're ahead, you will try and do the opposite. That means like clear all the rocks out, etc. I mean, when you manage to peel all those rocks all the time, you just stop the other team from developing the game that they want to develop. So you just stop them. It's also very frustrating for the other team. I mean, they just can't do whatever they want. So you just keep on peeling. But like we said before, actually the Czechs have got a pretty good situation in the middle, so they can just they still have their good chance to score 2. I mean, they can push that yellow rock there.
Now actually the time has come where Snitil is basically changing.
That's where you can start considering.
Exactly.
Maybe it's still a tiny. Maybe they could still throw another corner guard, but he's going for it now.
Yeah, it's the first rock of the third player. You could really think of playing another corner guard, but it's maybe also a chance again start of the season to try out different strategical options. What is working out for the team, where can they create some chances and develop their own team strategy that is going to bring success.
What they have to do is that they have to bump those rocks and avoid leaving a double. Well, there is a double. It's a little bit complicated, but I mean, it's Claudio Pet's throwing. So he can make it, that's for sure.
I would expect that he wanted to push the red rock just into the back rings to maybe have a stone hanging around to freeze on later on, or to
I mean, both options were possible, I think. Anyway, what should be avoided for sure is try and avoid leaving a double. So the double is there. It's a little complicated. I mean, you need to hit the first rock there, the first yellow on the left right now on our screen, very thin, and get the other one. Problem is that we might roll out and then leave a free draw for Snitil to go behind the center guard.
So this is Claudia Pats with his second rock in this end.
Oh, good shot.
And it just works out.
Just perfect. Well, the Czechs can still use that yellow rock as a corner guard. They can still hit and roll. I mean, you see a very, very, very strong shot from Claudio Petz that permitted that to push that yellow rock out of the house. Actually, a very good shot. So now a draw for the Czechs. We'll try and go behind the center guard.
Natrženej. Myslím, že bude fajn, ta dílka je fajn.
Čistit.
Čistit,
Místo,
jo na dílku.
místo. Hodně
Jo na
místa. Hodně
Jo na
místa.
dílku.
Hodně místa. Jindra teda čistí.
Jindra, jop.
Hart sweeping there. Seems like a pretty good shot. Has to curl a little bit. Good shot.
Yeah, I agree. Because if you draw behind the center guard with the hammer, you want to actually make sure that you either just 8 foot or biting the 4 foot, but not being too deep. Because if you're too deep, the other team can basically just freeze onto you, and you're down to 1 and won't have the chance to score 2 in the end. So I think it's a really good shot.
Yeah, I think so too. Good draw. That's an important shot. I mean, he had to make that as best as he could. It's a little bit open, but I think that, like we see, Sven Michel would be more tempted to play the run back. Means to raise the red rock he's showing right now onto the yellow. And this is a good option. Anyway, in that kind of situation is whatever you feel. I think whatever you're going to play is that you're going to try and remove the yellow rock. So anyways, good. It just depends what you prefer to play right now, I think.
Yeah, I also think he's playing that because if he's attacking the yellow rock directly, he's going to roll to the side himself, which leaves another opportunity for Team Snitil just to draw around the center guard and maybe still make the 2.
Yeah. Is it a little bit wide? Great shot there, stuck it. So I suppose now the Czechs are going to try and hit and roll, I suppose. Yeah. That's a beautiful shot from another great shot, actually. And he felt that run back. He made it. I think that I would have chosen that option if I were him too. So I quite agree with that shot, and the execution was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, these shots are really team shots as well. I mean, it's the execution of the player, but besides that, of course, the ice needs to be right, the calling of the line needs to be right, of the vice skip in the house, and the effort of the sweepers to hold the line.
So as we see during the end, for example, if you take Sven Michel's team, Sven Michel stays in the house, and he gives the orders. He shows he shows the shots that have to be played. He gives the ice by putting his broom down, and the player who throws is going to aim. And so when he goes and throw, Claudio Petz comes in the house and replaces him. And Claudio Petz puts down the broom in the house, and so that Sven Michel can aim at it when he throws. And the 2 others are sweeping. So, I mean, every rock is actually a team effort. The rock needs to be thrown properly, the ice needs to be given properly, and the sweepers need to sweep properly. And it's also all a question of communication between the players, like so the sweepers with the skip. When you play shots like this, again, hit and roll, I mean, it's the sweepers have got to say what speed of the rock is. The guy that's in the house has got to see the line, and knowing the speed. If the speed is called right, he can anticipate the effect of the rock, so he can call the sweeping yes or no. I mean, it's all those little things. I mean, that can make a shot really good or not very good.
Yeah, I always say 8 hands on a stone.
Yeah, exactly.
Often say great played, but in fact it's as you just explained, always a team stone.
It also means that when a shot is missed, it can also not be the fault of the person who thrown it. Maybe the ice was given wrong. Maybe the sweeper swept it too much or not enough. I mean, every rock is actually a team effort. It's actually very important to have a team with who you go along with, that people that you enjoy to play with, because it's very important on the ice and off the ice. I mean, you always stay with your team to go along, to have good relationships with your partners. I mean, you need to have a good communication, a good feeling. stuff is very important if you want to be successful.
And the higher the level, the more important, because all of these guys, they're good shooters, good curling players, but actually what they can accomplish as a team with communication and strategical thinking and ice reading and stuff like that is going to make the difference at the end, who's going to be at the top.
Yeah.
So we just actually saw two really nice stones. First we had a nice hit and roll from Chiri, and afterwards team Michel with their last rock with a nice double promotion takeout to take out the shot rock. So here is team Snitil with their last rock. They have to draw the 8 foot to score one and settle down with one.
Actually a routine shot for a skip. I mean, he's facing 2. He just has to draw for the point. So routine shot, he has to make it. It seems okay, but the sweepers are on it. I mean, they have to make sure that the rock's going to be fine. It seems fine. They have to... Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, just
another steal of 1.
I think just second rock.
Yeah. So this is actually pretty bad there. The Czech sweeper who dropped on it. It's too bad. I mean.
Yeah, that's of course quite a hiccup.
Yeah. Well, now Sven Michel is 3 points ahead.
Really in a good position now to bring the game home, so to say. So the Czech team will have to.
I think being 3 ahead with last rock is actually a good situation, because you can always afford getting a 2 taken on you. It's not a bad problem. Also, when you don't have last rock, you can start peeling rocks earlier. So.
Yeah, I mean the other team is not over the cliff yet. I mean they can score a 2 now and steal 1 in the 8th end, but it's still a comfortable lead, so to say.
It's a comfortable lead.
So Team Czech will have to really go for the 2.
Yeah, they have to score 2 now, because if they only score 1, well, if they get stolen on, I mean they're 4 down and it's practically game over. But if they only score 1, they would be 2 down without last rock, and they would have to steal 2. It gets very complicated. If they score 2, stealing 1 is totally possible, feasible in the last end. You know, you just play all for the steal, and whatever happens, I mean, the other guys can score 5. It doesn't matter. You need to try and steal 1. So it would be good now for the Czechs if they could score 2.
Fine.
Actually, it would be vital.
So the opening rock of Team Baden was not quite perfect. It just slid to the back of the 4 foot. They really wanted to stay top 4 with their first rock. As expected, the Czech team is going to play a corner guard. And Team Adelboden now with a tactical option of just playing through the second stone of the lead. The reason why is Team Adelboden, as we said, they have a nice lead of 3. They don't want to make that end too complicated. They would like to have an open end. They're going to play away the corner guards as soon as they can.
Yeah.
They don't want to have too many rocks in play, also not of their own.
Yeah.
So that's why they keep it simple. They
Knowing their first rock is behind the T line, it's better not to put too many rocks in play now, because the more rocks they put in the center, the more actually the Czechs could actually use those rocks as an advantage, as a cushion, for example. So there we see they play an interesting strategy. They put a long corner guard and a short corner guard. Usually you see the teams play corner guard on this side and on the other one, but this is also an option. Put 2 corner guards on the same side.
It
one
is.
guarding the other.
It makes the double maybe a bit trickier.
Yeah.
I mean the double and to roll out yourself.
Yeah. That's true.
And they are just continuing with that
So
tactic, playing
Heinrich
another
Kitzberger, huh?
double corner guard.
Yep, playing the other corner guard.
Did we actually get any questions in so far?
Wait.
Pokračuj, pokračuj, pojď, pojď,
Julka je
ať
dobrá.
není vidět, pojď.
Julka je dobrá.
Jo, pojď, Martine, pojď, pojď, pojď. Ještě, ještě.
On the Facebook
ještě,
group, not
ještě,
yet.
ještě.
Maybe we can just communicate again the email address you can email us to. It's live@curlingchampionstour.org. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Now we see it nicely on the screen.
Yeah. So don't forget, you can always ask questions and we can answer them live on live@curlingchampionstour.org, the address that you can see at the bottom of your screen. You can also write them on our Facebook group, Live Curling on Laula.tv. So whatever you prefer. Just send us our email, don't hesitate. We're looking forward to having some of your questions and we're looking forward to answer them on the screen.
Maybe people are not yet in curling mode.
Yeah.
Just starting.
Still the summer.
September, yeah. Look outside and you realize it's not.
Well, now it's more. We passed from the month of August to the month of November in like one day, I think. It's been like from 30 degrees to 15 degrees. Actually, I think it's quite impressive that with such a fast change of temperature, they managed actually to keep a good quality ice. I mean, the temperature outside has got an influence on the condition of the ice. So there we see actually the Czechs. They're using their corner guard pretty well. I mean, they managed to draw one foul to guard, to place the guard close to the house behind the top corner guard. Then the Swiss team got rid of that top corner guard, and now they drew behind. And actually, Michel.
That's not bad.
Actually,
the shot rock now is in front of the
tee
line.
That's actually a very good shot. I have to say that after that three they got taken on them, the Swiss side have been playing very, very consistently well. I mean, they haven't missed much. They never gave many occasions to the Czechs, and they really made virtually all the key shots they had to make. I'm particularly thinking about that raise there. In the fourth one to score two. I mean, that was a very, very important shot. The situation was quite complicated. Michel made a very good shot to score two.
I agree. Not much wrong with the Adelboden team at the start of the season.
And now that they have managed to take the lead, I mean, they're in a comfortable situation.
He wants to take that rock all the way back to make sure if Team Adelboden is hitting it and staying it, they're going to stay behind the tee line.
Yep. So hits and rolls out. Good shot. The Czechs are going to try and go behind their corner guard again. What they need actually is that they have to be perfectly behind the corner guard, and then Michel has to peel the guard to make sure that he's never going to get more than two, and then they have to hit that red rock in the house and lay two in the house. And hopefully they'll get their good chance to score two, but they need to have that good draw there. And that seems a little fast. Will it stay in the house? Uh-oh. This is actually a pretty bad miss there from the Czechs, because now the Swiss side can just take that yellow rock out, and the Czechs will have no more guards that they can use. I mean, if you want to score two, usually again, like I said, you don't expect a total miss. I mean, usually you need a guard at least that you can use if you want to score 2. The last chance for the Czechs now maybe to score 2 is to freeze on that red rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Of course, considering that I think Sven Michel's throwing.
The clearing is going
It's
to
gonna
work
make
out
the
for
peel.
Team Adelboden. But yeah, it's a pity. The chance was there
Yeah.
for the Czech team to keep on a bit of pressure and make Sven Michel play more difficult shots. But with being just that bit too long, all the pressure is gone when Michel is playing a perfect clearing.
I mean, this is a routine shot for players at that level. On top of that, knowing those guys, they like to throw hard. I mean, they like to play those kinds of shots. So it's So now I think the Czechs are going to try and freeze now. Their last chance.
That's the only option that is left.
And the freeze has actually got to be perfect because knowing the power that Sven Michel has when he throws, I mean, the freeze is not perfect. He's just going to throw a rocket at the rocks and everything's going to pop out. So now.
Yeah, that's right. The aim is actually not to be shot after that rock. He doesn't want to be on the inside of that stone when he freezes. He really wants to fully nose freeze that rock.
Fine. Fine. Very fine.
Yep.
Jo, nasměr. Jo, nasměr.
Jasně, dobré, jo.
Pojď.
The line is looking fine.
It's pretty good. Question is speed.
Need to be careful that it's not over curling.
It over curled a little bit, and it's a tiny bit too fast. But at least, I mean, the shot is there. He forces Sven Michel to play on it. You never know. I mean, you have to force him. He can always miss. I mean, it can happen. You don't expect it, of course, but at least you force him to play the shot. So there we go. So I expect Sven Michel to play a hard weight takeout now.
He just has to make sure to hit it on the right side. Nose hits the max. The stone is on its way. It's a nice peel weight, just hit it on the nose. Both rocks are out of game and the shooter stays shot in the rings. So team Snitil now have to decide, do they want to score 1 or do they want to blank and take the hammer up to the last end and go fully out for a 3?
Well, it's their choice, is what they prefer. Well, he's just going to blank the end and go for a 3 in the last end.
Fine. Just it.
I think.
It's looking good. The blank is here.
Good shot.
It's a blank, but keeping the hammer for the last end.
Well, you can always score a 3. I mean, it's totally possible. I think they just need one miss, in theory, from the Swiss team, and they can score a 3 if they play the end perfectly well. So the chance is still there. Last end now, and Sven Michel leading 7-4 without the last rock.
So we're going to take another quick look onto the scores of the other games. On sheet 1 we have Team Hassler against Team Dufour. There was a steal of 1 in the 6th end for Team Hassler, taking on the lead 4-3. And they're now into the 7th end with Team Dufour having the hammer.
We see Thomas Dufour and Lionel Roux there thinking. I think their situation, from what I can see from far away, is not too bad. So we'll see how they pull out of the fire.
Then we have Team Lang against Team Kauste.
Oh.
The Finns have managed to take up the lead by stealing 3 in the 6th end.
Yeah.
It's now 7-4, going down to the last end, the Finns with the hammer.
I'm feeling very sorry for my friend Tobias there, who's cheering for Team Lang there. So it's not over yet, too. I mean, it's exactly the same situation than in our game right now.
And then last game, Team Hess against Team Edin.
So also nothing is over right now. 4-2 for the Swedes. I mean, if they get to score 2, they're in a bit of a difficult situation, but they have a corner guard. You can't see it, of course, but I mean, nothing is over right now.
They're still in the 7th end.
Still in the 7th.
So Team Hess going for a 2. Let's see how that's going to develop. So back to our game. We're in the last end.
So what the Czechs are doing is that they're just placing corner guards, and then now they have to hope that the Swiss team misses at least one peel. This is all what they need if they want to have a chance to score 3. So
two nice corner guards on the same height, which makes it impossible to double clear for Team Adelboden. Very important now for the Czech team to really place these corner guards at the right spots, because if Team Adelboden make a double clearing, it's basically game over. They need their guards.
I mean, Adelboden, as you can see, they like to throw hard shots. I mean, between Sandro Troyer, Sven Michel, and Claudio Petz, I mean, they're all like big throwers. They like to throw big weight, and they're good at it. So if you leave them a chance for a double peel, I mean, they can make it. They've got a good chance to make it. So it's really important to leave them absolutely no chance for them to make a double by placing the rocks at the same height, nice and spread out.
So the Czechs are now already drawing behind the corner guard, not playing a second corner guard anymore. With the second stone of Kitzberger.
So actually, in this end, if Team Michel doesn't miss a peel, the Czechs have got no chance theoretically. I mean, what the Czechs need if they want to have a chance to score 3, they need a missed peel. Well,
the stone was played just a bit light. That's why it curled a bit too much and stays now in front of the house. Important is that they have stones in place, so another stone hanging around. It's actually not too bad because it's also a stone that could be split.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, anyway, I think San Michel is asking Claudio Petz for a double. So again, big weight. I mean, if he makes that shot, I mean, we can probably say it's game over. Oh, okay.
nice shot.
Okay, we can say maybe now.
That's it.
Well, the Czechs still have 4 rocks to play, and the Swiss still have 3 rocks to play. So
There is
with
still
those
a
3 rocks,
technical
they just
chance.
need to get rid of 2 of the Czech rocks, and that's it. And they just have a perfectly open situation. I mean, we're close to the handshake there.
The Swiss played so consistent.
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
imagine that they're
I mean-
going to miss something here.
They didn't play particularly well in the first end. I mean, they got caught, let's say, right at the start. But, I mean, after that, they didn't panic. They just kept on playing. They kept on playing how they know how to play. And they used every Czech mistake to their advantage. And, I mean, they really didn't miss much after that. I mean, they were just perfectly in their game, very consistent, and virtually no missed shots. I mean, this is very important, that level. If you don't miss, you're really hard to beat. And the Czechs have had 1 or 2 bad misses there that costed them quite a lot.
Yeah, a few missed opportunities,
Yeah.
I would say. When they
Yeah.
had the chance to put on the pressure onto Team Adelboden, they just couldn't quite capitalize.
Yeah. Well, I could probably I mean, when the Czechs scored their 3 in the first end, I mean, they were probably in a good momentum, and by having that 3 taken on them just after, I mean, probably the sort of mental attitude changed. I mean, maybe the Czechs were feeling good on the ice, and suddenly they get that 3 taken on them, and the Swiss were maybe thinking, oh, we're in trouble, but anyway, let's try. Then suddenly they're okay, we're back in the game now, we can go on. And the Czechs are feeling that they're getting caught up, and I mean, yeah.
Of course, you can say the first 4 ends were really quite even, I would say. Both teams having their chances and also taking their chances. The turning point was definitely the 5th end, when the draw against 2 was just a bit too short, and Team Adelboden managed to steal 1. That was, in my eyes, the turning point.
And so now we see the handshake between the 2 teams, saying that the game is over. Curling, it's a tradition. I mean, before the game, both teams shake hands, wishing each other good game. And at the end, they shake hand and say congratulations to each other. And now they're going to go change and have a drink together, because this is the spirit of curling. It's tradition. I mean, it's a friendly game. You're, let's say, opponents on the ice. But, I mean, off the ice, you're usually friends. So, in the end, even at that level of competition, I mean, you always meet a lot of people, have a good time and stuff. So, I mean, it's nice to see teams after go have a drink and have a chat and talk about, I don't know, anything.
Yeah, what we see here now is after the game, both teams play 1 dolly draw, the so-called last stone draw. The goal is to place it as close as possible to the pin, and the result will be taken on to the next game, where the team with the better draw is going to have the hammer. So the winner starts. Team Adelboden is playing their dolly draw. As you can see, 2 sweepers are allowed.
So 2 diverse fortunes for those 2 teams. Snitil yet hasn't won a game out of their 3 games, and they're already eliminated. Michel won 3 games out of 3 now, and so I think that they're probably already qualified for the quarterfinals, so they still have a chance to defend their title. Not a very, very good draw at the center. You can see it's measured right now, but anyway.
And as we mentioned before, we're going to be back at 4:30 this afternoon. We're going to feature a game from Group C, which is going to be Team Freiberger against Team Hess, 2 of the teams which are actually quite good in the race, so to say. And looking forward to webcast that game as well.
Yeah. So the next game we will be commentating will be at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon, time GMT +1. So Hesse against Freiburger, two Swiss teams playing against each other. Very important game for the rankings because Freiburger is top of the group. Hesse, who is actually right now losing to Edin, will absolutely need to win if he wants to stay in the race to qualify. So between the team who wants to qualify and the team who wants to still give themselves a chance to qualify, I mean, it's probably going to be a really good battle between those two Swiss teams. And it's going to be really nice to see. Okay. So anyway, we've seen that the end of that game, Michel winning by 7 rocks to 4 against Jerry Snitil from the Czech Republic. 3 matches, 3 wins for Michel, 3 matches, 3 losses for Jerry Snitil. And so it was a pleasure to come in with you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
all right.
we'll be back at 4:30 this afternoon.
We'll be back at 4:30. Roger Golka on Laula 1.tv live curling.
Werbevideo noch irgendwie, das Zeug machen, was ist die Werbevideo haben? Du, sie gerade, sie sollen gerade warten im Moment. Ja, das geht runter. Über das Ding verräumen da.